My name is Grace. I'm 30 years old, and for 8 years, Bella was my best friend. Dogs shouldn't sleep in beds, Martha always said with a dismissive wave. Then Bella got sick, mysteriously suddenly, after eating Martha's special homemade treats. I still remember the day I found Bella at the shelter. She was a trembling golden retriever with soulful brown eyes, tied to a lamppost in the rain and abandoned like trash. The shelter staff warned me about her anxiety, but the moment our eyes met, something clicked. She won't last here much longer, a worker murmured. Older dogs with trust issues, people just walk past them. I took her home that day. It wasn't easy. She flinched at sudden movements, cowered during thunderstorms, barked at her own shadow. But every night, I sat beside her, whispering softly until she fell asleep. Over time, she stopped hiding. One night, she climbed onto my bed. After that, she never left. Then I met David. Kind, patient, and most importantly, Bella approved. She wagged her tail when he visited and even brought him her favorite toy, something she'd never done with anyone else. When he proposed 2 years later, Bella was there, carrying the ring box in her mouth. And then there was Martha. The first time I met David's mother, her lips thinned at the sight of Bella. "You let that thing sleep in your bed?" she asked over dinner, nose wrinkling. How unsanitary. I try explaining Bella's past, her anxiety, the progress we'd made. Martha silenced me with a flick of her manicured hand. Dogs are animals, dear. They need discipline, not coddling. In my day, they stay outside where they belonged. David squeezed my hand under the table. Mom, Bella's family. Martha laughed, sharp as breaking glass. She's a dog, David. Grace is using this animal to compensate for something. 3 years of Sunday dinners followed, each one laced with subtle jabs. Still letting her sleep inside, I found this wonderful kennel facility. You know, proper training would fix that separation anxiety. I smiled and nodded, but Bella knew better. She'd press against my leg whenever Martha visited, sensing my tension. David told me his mother meant well. She's just old-fashioned about pets. I wanted to believe him. Then last month, everything changed. Martha started bringing homemade dog treats to Sunday dinner. I found this wonderful recipe she cooed, handing me a tin. All natural ingredients, much better than those processed things you buy. The treats were golden brown, shaped like little bones. Bella sniffed them, hesitant. "Go on," Martha encouraged, voice honey sweet. "Be a good girl." Something about her sudden interest felt off. But David looked pleased. His mother was making an effort, wasn't she? So I stayed quiet. At first, nothing seemed wrong. Bella ate them, Martha beamed. Then the lethargy started. Bella, always brimming with energy, slept more. Her morning walks grew shorter. She didn't bring me her toy anymore. "She's just getting older," David said when I voiced my concerns. But I knew my dog. Then came the vomiting. One morning, I found her hunched over in the kitchen, food untouched. When I reached out, she whimpered. "It's probably just an upset stomach." Martha said that Sunday. "Here, these settle the stomach." She held out another treat. Bella turned away. "See," Martha, spoiled. No discipline. That night, Bella collapsed. I rushed her to the emergency vet, my heart hammering. "How long has she been like this?" the vet asked, checking her gums. 2 weeks, I choked out. "But tonight, has she eaten anything unusual?" I hesitated, then mentioned Martha's treats. The vet's expression darkened. "Do you have any left?" I did. I had grabbed a few before leaving. The vet took them for testing. That night, I sat beside Bella's hospital bed, watching her fight for her life, when my phone buzzed. A text from Martha. "I heard about Bella. Such a shame. But perhaps it's for the best. Now you can get a proper dog, one that knows its place." My hands shook. My stomach dropped. It all made sense now. Her sudden interest in Bella's diet, the way she insisted she eat those treats, the satisfaction in her eyes when Bella got sick. The test results confirmed it the next morning. The treats contained toxic levels of raisins and macadamia nuts, both lethal to dogs. "These weren't an accident," the vet said quietly. "Someone knew what they were doing." I clutched Bella's paw, tears streaming. My sweet, trusting girl, betrayed by someone who should have been family. I called David, barely able to get the words out. His response shattered my world. You can't be serious, he said, voice cold. Mom would never. Grace, you're being paranoid. Those treats were store-bought. She showed me the package. I sat in the sterile veterinary office, the test results crumpled in my trembling hands. The paper listed the toxic ingredients in cold clinical detail: concentrated grape extract, crushed macadamia nuts, traces of chocolate. But the vet's words were what kept echoing in my head. This was deliberate. David refused to believe it. You're letting your imagination run wild, he said over the phone, his voice tense. Mom's at the house now. She's upset that you'd even suggest such a thing. My blood ran cold. She's at the house. She's cleaning up Bella's things. David continued. She says we need to be practical. I hung up. And then I broke every speed limit getting home. Martha was in our bedroom when I arrived, stuffing Bella's bed into a garbage bag. Her face was the picture of practiced concern. Oh, Grace dear, she sighed. I thought I'd help tidy up. No need for painful reminders. Step away from Bella's things. My voice shook with rage. She's not dead. She's fighting for her life because of you. Martha's expression hardened. I have no idea what you're talking about. I bought those treats from PetSmart. Stop lying. I held up the test results, my hands shaking. Raisins, macadamia nuts. You knew exactly what you were doing. Grace. David appeared in the doorway, eyes flashing. That's enough. Mom's trying to help. Help? A bitter laugh escaped me. Like she helped Bella by poisoning her? Martha's eyes welled up with crocodile tears. David, honey, I think Grace is having some kind of breakdown. First these awful accusations, now this irrational behavior. The only irrational thing, I snapped, was trusting you around my dog. Our dog, David corrected sharply. And Mom would never. Actually, a new voice cut in. We turned. David's sister, Kate, stood in the hallway. She looked pale. Mom would, she said. Martha stiffened. Catherine, don't you dare. Kate's gaze darted to David. Remember my cat? Senior year? How she ran away right before I left for college. David frowned. Yeah, what about it? Martha moved toward Kate, voice low, warning. That's enough, Catherine. But Kate pressed on. She didn't run away, David. I found the vet bills. Mom had her put down while I was at school. She told me later it was mercy because Snowball was old. David's forehead creased. She was old though, wasn't she? Kate's voice cracked. She was 6, perfectly healthy. She swallowed hard. I never told you because Mom threatened to cut off my college funding if I did. The silence was deafening. David turned slowly toward his mother. Mom? Martha's mask shattered. Her tears dried up. Her face twisted in disdain. That cat was making you weak, she spat at Kate. Just like this dog is making Grace weak. Animals are meant to be pets, not, she waved a hand at me, substitute children. My stomach dropped. David inhaled sharply. We had been trying for a baby for 2 years. Struggling. Grieving. No one knew except for us. Martha knew. And she used it. Get out, David said, his voice like ice. David, sweetheart. Now. Martha gathered her designer purse, straightening with a sniff. The mask of superiority slid back into place. When you're ready to be reasonable, call me. She paused at the door, smiling sweetly. Oh, and Grace. I'd check those other treats in the kitchen if I were you. Wouldn't want any accidents. After she left, I tore through the pantry. I found 3 more bags of treats hidden behind the cereal boxes. The vet later confirmed they were all toxic. Kate stayed that night, telling us story after story about the friendships Martha had sabotaged, the gaslighting, the quiet, insidious control. I should have spoken up sooner, she whispered. When I saw her bringing those treats, I knew. She exhaled shakily. I was scared. David sat in silence, staring at nothing, processing. Then he turned to me, his voice barely a whisper. I'm so sorry, he said. I should have believed you. His throat bobbed. Is Bella? My phone rang. I grabbed it with shaking hands. Mrs. Chen, your dog's condition has changed. You need to come right away. The drive to the emergency vet was a blur. David's knuckles were white against the steering wheel, his jaw clenched so tightly I thought it might shatter. I sat in the back seat, Kate beside me, her grip firm around my hand. The night air was thick, suffocating. The world outside rushed past in streaks of headlights and neon signs, but I barely saw any of it. "Please, Bella, hold on." The moment we pulled up, the night nurse met us at the entrance, her face unreadable. "She's awake," she said. My knees nearly buckled. "She's asking for you." I rushed inside. Bella lay in a sterile hospital bed, IV lines snaking around her frail body. But the moment she saw me, her tail thumped weakly against the blankets. A choked sob escaped me as I buried my face in her fur, breathing her in. She still smelled like home. "The latest blood work shows significant improvement," the vet said gently. "She's not out of the woods, but she's fighting. Getting her here quickly made all the difference." David stood frozen in the doorway, tears streaking silently down his face. Bella watched him, reading his emotions like she always did. Carefully, warily. "Come here," I whispered. He knelt beside us, hesitating, until Bella lifted her head and gave his hand a slow, gentle lick. "Forgiveness." Kate exhaled beside me, her voice barely above a whisper. "I called the police," she said. "They want to talk to us. About Mom. About everything." The investigation moved quickly. The treats weren't Martha's only mistake. Detectives found receipts for the toxic ingredients on her credit card, browser searches for foods poisonous to dogs on her laptop, and then the videos. Martha had installed nanny cams in our house under the guise of helpfulness. What they captured was chilling. Footage of her placing the treats, watching as Bella ate them, meticulously documenting her declining health. She recorded everything, Detective Reynolds told us. His expression was grim. "Your mother-in-law kept detailed notes about symptoms, timing doses. She was escalating." The court date was set within weeks. Martha's lawyer tried everything: mental health defenses, claims of temporary insanity. But the evidence was overwhelming. The judge watched the videos, read her notes, listened to testimony about Snowball, about the other pets she'd dealt with over the years. Martha sat in the courtroom, perfectly composed, playing the role of the misunderstood matriarch. "I only wanted to help," she insisted. "Grace's attachment to that animal wasn't natural. Someone had to do something." The judge's voice was cold. "Mrs. Chin, your calculated cruelty toward an innocent animal, your manipulation of your own family, this court finds it deeply disturbing." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "You are sentenced to 18 months in prison, followed by mandatory psychiatric treatment." As they led her away, Martha turned to David one last time. "Everything I did," she said, "I did for this family." David met her gaze, his voice steady. "No, Mom, you did it for control, and you don't have that anymore." Recovery took time. Not just for Bella, but for all of us. David started therapy, unraveling years of quiet manipulation. Kate moved closer, rebuilding the family bond Martha had tried so hard to destroy. And Bella got stronger every day. The shelter where I'd found her years ago stepped in, helping with medical bills through their emergency fund. They even featured her story in their newsletter. Donations poured in, funding treatments for other pets in crisis. 6 months after the trial, I sat on the couch with Bella curled up beside me, her body warm and solid. That was when I felt it, a tiny fluttering movement in my belly. I stilled. My heart pounded. The fertility treatments had worked. David cried when I told him, and Bella, sweet, intuitive Bella, seemed to know. She started sleeping with her head resting gently against my growing bump, always watching, always protecting. Martha still writes from prison. Her letters swing between guilt and justification. We don't respond. Some bridges, once burned, are better left in ashes. Today, Bella is back to her old self, playful, loving, completely devoted. She watches over our newborn daughter, Lucy, with quiet vigilance. They sleep together in the nursery, Bella curled up beside the crib. Yes, on the bed. Because that's what family does. Kate visits every weekend, healing her own wounds through her bond with Bella. David has become an advocate for animal welfare, sharing our story to help others recognize the warning signs of abuse. Yesterday, I got a letter from the shelter. They've started a fund in Bella's name to help senior dogs with anxiety find loving homes. "Your experience shows that every dog deserves a chance," the director wrote, "and sometimes they end up saving us in return." Looking at Bella now, Curled up beside Lucy, I think about how close I came to losing her. How Martha's cruelty almost destroyed something beautiful. But love won. Love always wins. To anyone dealing with toxic family members, trust your instincts. Don't let anyone tell you your love, whether for pets, for family, or for anything that brings you peace, is wrong or unhealthy. Sometimes the people who claim to know what's best for you are the very ones you need to protect yourself from. And to anyone considering adopting a senior dog with anxiety, do it. They may have baggage, but they have the biggest hearts. Just ask Bella. As I finish writing this, Bella trots over, dropping her favorite toy, the same one she first shared with David, into my lap. She wags her tail, ready to play. Lucy giggles from her playpen, reaching for her furry protector. This is my family, not the one Martha tried to force us to be. The one we chose to create. Imperfect. Unconventional. Absolutely perfect.